this has been a week where the CDC made a pretty surprising 180 after like 2 months ago being like, we're all gonna die. Hold your loved ones close. Now, in what I think is sort of a like bizarre reverse psychology ploy to get anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers to either get vaccinated or wear a mask. The CDC's new guidelines say that if you're fully vaccinated, you do not have to wear a mask indoors. Okay, great. And I know that sounds like a relief. At the same time, it also sounds like we're setting ourselves up after huge success with a vaccine rollout for massive failure. Because even though millions and millions of people have been vaccinated, only about 36% of Americans are fully vaccinated right now, right? And so once again, this feels a little bit like we're calling it quits before we should be, that we're kind of throwing in the towel, or like, it, you know, typical mission accomplished America, just throw a banner on it, let's do it. When like, maybe we should be waiting another month, you know? Maybe Biden just rolled out his new like plan to get people vaccinated by going to communities, by working with health professionals and community leaders. Like we just reported on that last week on this podcast. And now already it's like, no, you know what? We're not going to do the masks indoors. Okay. So as a refresher, and as a reminder, we've had some trouble with wearing masks, and I'm not so sure if the Kevins and the Karens who were so insistent that they would not be wearing masks indoors are going to be so eager to get vaccinated. And you know that many places are not instituting any kind of vaccination passport or checked policy that is actually not part of the CDC's guidelines. Once again, they're leaving it to individuals and mostly minimum wage workers at Walmart and or Costco. So because of this news, places like Costco, places like Trader Joe's, they all dropped their mask mandates for indoor shopping. But of course, states and counties and different cities all have their own particular mask mandates themselves. So everything's a little bit out of sync here. And I want to just play for you a video that explains and shows exactly how out of sync. This was from California. This is former child star Ricky Schroeder, who I had to look up. I was like, who the F has heard of The Champ? I haven't. I guess he was in that movie as a very blonde child. This guy, real stand-up guy, he donated to the Kyle Rittenhouse Fund for white supremacy. This is him harassing a Costco employee for asking him to wear a mask before shopping.
Why aren't you letting me in?
Because in the state of California and the county of Los Angeles, there has been and Costco, there's been no change to our mask policy. Not in the state of California or in the county of Los Angeles.
Didn't you see the news? You didn't see the news. Nationwide Costco has said you don't need to wear a mask.
Actually, that's not accurate.
What is accurate?
So what is accurate is that Costco always goes above and beyond when following the law, and the mandate in California has not changed. There does seem to be the possibility that in June, by mid-June, that's a date that California, I know,
if they allow us, if they grant us that, our kings.
Oh, the kings and queens who like run this ship? My God, I love Americans really want to live in tyranny and monarchy. Like, we have it so good. We have it so good. Costco is a beautiful place. Put on the goddamn mask and go get your goddamn snacks, you washed up racist. But anyway, it's not just me. You guys are thinking like, well, Francesca doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. You're right. I don't. Touché. But I will say that the fact that workers are consistently on the front lines of whatever kind of enforcement or guidelines. Because by the way, Costco did say you don't have to wear masks, but the state of California does. So the guy's not wrong. Like a genuine company man. But I just want to bring up this tweet. This is from the president of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, Mark Perrone, who says that millions of Americans are doing the right thing and getting vaccinated, but essential workers are still forced to play mask police for shoppers who are unvaccinated and refuse to follow local COVID safety measures. Absolutely. Once again, how many how many workers have we seen just like facing down nut jobs at the front lines of their supposed heroic work? Speaking of heroes, the National Nurses Union also came out and said that they were not in favor of the CDC guidelines dropping masks for people indoors either, even if you're fully vaccinated. This is a tweet from the president of the National Nurses United. Am I not bringing that up? They state a continued high number of COVID cases in the U.S., circulation of COVID variants a concern, and unanswered questions about the vaccines. These are just a few of the concerns nurses have with new CDC government guidelines. And then the president says, or the executive director says, the newest CDC guidance is not based on science, does not protect public health, and threatens the lives of patients, nurses, and other frontline workers across the country. Cool. So that's where nurses stand, the ones who've been saving our asses and our families and who've been going to work day in and day out. That's where workers stand, the people who we've heralded as being heroic. And this is just Biden's ploy. I mean, this is a ploy. It's a ploy to be like, get your vaccine, guys, because then you didn't take off your mask. Once again, these folks have no problem lying to your face. They have no problem like exposing you to any kind of new variants. They have no problem with that because they don't care. They've shown from the beginning that they do not care. The other thing, and I have to double check this, but apparently the CDC is not going to be tracking COVID cases of people who've been vaccinated. What? That's from the National Nurses Union. That's National Nurses United said this, and they have a problem with that. I had no idea that was going on either. So like, look, Bill Maher has COVID, and I hope he gets well very, very soon and can continue to do his show day in and day out. But I realize that me crossing my fingers for the podcast listeners means nothing. No, I fucking hate Bill Maher. Replace his show with this one. Thank you, HBO. But I do think we should be tracking these cases. It is important. Anyway, y'all. That's my bitch. You bring it to me in the comments. Bring it to me wherever you want. What are you guys bitching about? I think we can do better than this. I think we dropped mask mandates way too soon. We should have continued them for at least another few weeks, maybe until middle of June. July 4th was when Biden said he wanted to have everybody, gathered in families for July 4th, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Then stick to that, man. Stick to it because it was way too soon, and I don't trust these fools at all. Hey, thanks so much for watching the Bitchuation Room podcast live stream. And while you're here, why don't you just subscribe to this channel? I promise it'll be good.